back to the DMG Still Wrong YouTube channel. My name is Mike and I'm joined today by Dillon and Gage. How's it going?
Good.
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm great. As you can see from on your screen, our faces are covering, but this is Dillon's Mock Draft 1.0. And I'm going to let Dillon just go ahead and steal the show from me right here, right now. So, Dillon, the floor is all yours.
Perfect. Well, before we get into this, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, do the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, this is my 1.0, my individual mock draft here. We kind of have a little bet going to see who can kind of predict the most draft picks of the first round this year. It's chaotic, so who really knows? But yeah, so this is my mock draft. The way that I did this one is I took control of all 32 teams and decided, what would I do? This isn't a prediction of what each GM is going to do because that just is going to take way too much time. We don't care about Myles Garrett right now because this is the draft. But yeah, so I didn't do any trade. I just went with what I felt like the best player for that team was at that time. Kind of interesting, but I'm confident in this. That confident in my evaluation here, and hopefully
Dylan's
next week.
Curveballs. Dylan had Mikey and I roll, and he was like, "I got like 4 trades going on." He was just BSing everything.
Yeah, but no, trades are way too hard to predict. So I just whatever. I'm not gonna. There's already been like 10 different picks being traded in the first round. So that's still going to be more coming on next week. But speaking of next week, we are going live as well, so you'll see everything break down and whatnot, and stay tuned to that. But yeah, let's just jump into the first pick. I'll kind of go and read through them all, and then we'll kind of discuss it later on, see how idiotic my draft is. So I'm expecting pick number 2 to be the most fun.
Well, before we keep going, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. We see that only 92% of you guys, they're not subscribed when you watch our videos. So why not just click it? Especially for this premium content. You're about to see a 100% mock draft right here. This is what the draft's going to be on Thursday.
Most accurate draft right here.
It won't be, but...
No. But, all right, yeah, let's go to the first pick.
Let's do it.
Okay, so Aiden Hutchinson. Do you guys want me to kind of explain it or just read through it?
Up to you.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Okay, well, I'll just give a brief synopsis of each pick of why I did it. So Aiden Hutchinson, I think he's the most impactful player that you can put on your team right now for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Helps everything on your defense. Your defense helps your offense. I think he's just the surest pick. So Aiden Hutchinson, number 1 overall edge, Michigan. Next one. You got to click about 3 times. Detroit Lions selecting Matt Corral, quarterback, Ole Miss. There's the picture. So Gage is laughing because he hates Matt Corral, and I don't necessarily blame him. It's a hard projection, and I'm giving this as much grains of salt as I can give. But in my opinion, if you're the Lions and you're picking number 2 overall and you have no franchise quarterback, you gotta take a quarterback, in my opinion. I really like Matt Corral. I think he just is a very smart quarterback. I think he can pick up an NFL offense very easily. He has a lot of things that I like, especially a quick release and a lot of mobility. Obviously, everyone's going to have their own quarterback opinions. So this is mine. I know it's kind of a shake-up on a lot of people's opinions, but I'm throwing out mine. It can be judged, and that's how it's going to be. But Matt Corral, quarterback, Ole Miss. I love it, but I'm sure we'll hear more from Gage about it after the draft.
This is definitely not happening next Thursday.
All right, number 3, Sauce Gardner, cornerback out of Cincinnati. This one, I'm just looking at with the Texans. You have so many needs, and you could take those kind of who I thought about here, or Evan Neal. Obviously, you want to take people in the trench, but Sauce Gardner to me is just a rare cornerback that you just can't get in every single draft. He's got size, he's got quickness, he's got a lot of confidence, and he's someone that you can put on one side of the field. At least for right now, what it seems like, you can put him on one side of the field and not worry about it. So I think that makes defense a whole lot easier for the Texans. Made it a whole lot easier for Cincinnati. So number 3 overall pick, Sauce Ahmad Gardner. Number 4, New York Jets take Garrett Wilson, wide receiver out of Ohio State. This is one where I think, because so many wide receivers are in the first round and so many are kind of creeping into the top 10, if you're the Jets, you really want someone that you can look at as a number 1 wide receiver, get Zach Wilson, his guy, Wilson connection. You don't have to trade up from 10 to get him. You just stay at 4, pick him, and then kind of see what player is there available at 10. But that way you get a blue chip wide receiver, someone that's going to get wide open and plays very well with what Zach Wilson does throwing the football. So Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, Ohio State. But yeah, number 5, Evan Neal, Alabama tackle. I think he's just the best tackle right now all around. The Giants need help on the offensive line. It's pretty easy to see. They have, who is it, Andrew or something? Who's their tackle?
Thomas.
Andrew Thomas, yeah. So him and Thomas are going to be your tackles. Whoever ends up being the best left tackle right now, great. Whoever ends up being the best right tackle now, great. But I can't pass up on Evan Neal if you're the Giants, so took Evan Neal, tackle out of Alabama. Number 6, this is another kind of curveball for the quarterback situation. A lot of people have Sam Howell in the 2nd round right now, but I'm looking, if you're Carolina, you want someone that can get the ball to your wide receivers right now, and you have a lot of deep ball wide receivers. You got a lot of the Christian McCaffrey, and then the short range with I think DJ Moore it is. The offense is going to work a lot more similarly to what Sam Howell does, and he has a great arm that can get anywhere on the field. So this saves Matt Rule and the other GM, I forget his name, but gives them someone that can produce right away. You don't have to give them a couple games on the bench behind Sam Arnold. You throw Sam Howell in, and you got yourself an offense. So I got Sam Howell, quarterback out of UNC, number 6. The 2nd pick for the Giants, they do have the luxury to kind of take a physical, athletic defensive player. It gives them something that they haven't had on that defensive line since Jason Pierre-Paul, and you know how all that worked out for them. He's very athletic. He produces scarcely in that Georgia defense, so that is a red flag. If he produced at all, hell yeah, put him top 3, no problem. But swinging number 7, you get a toolsy guy that you can work with and put anywhere on that defensive line. He's going to cause havoc, and hopefully in year 3 or 4 he'll be more of a technician and can get around anyone. But yeah, number 7, Trayvon Walker, defensive end, Georgia. Number 8 is another interesting wide receiver here. I got Drake London going to the Atlanta Falcons. He's not my wide receiver number 2, but he's my wide receiver 1 for what the Falcons want to do moving forward. They don't have wide receivers, and you can get someone that is going to win 50-50 balls. He's coming off an injury, so he didn't test much in the draft process, but his long speed is very good. It takes a while to get up to that speed, but he's got great footwork as well. I think he's very, advanced at this age for being a wide receiver, and he's got a lot of room to grow. And Atlanta gets 2 big dudes that you can target on the field with Kyle Pitts. So number 8, Drake London, wide receiver out of USC. Number 9 overall, I got Kayvon Thibodeau, edge out of Oregon. This is one that I kind of sneakily love a lot because I think Kayvon Thibodeau, being a brand guy, brand loyalty and everything like that, he's got a lot going on outside of football right now. And I think Seattle's one of those franchises that can handle that, and it's not going to be too much of a distraction for him. He's not going to be bigger than the franchise when he gets there. And he's very productive, very athletic, and pretty prototypical for the edge position. So it's a great way to build that defense back up to where it was before. So I really like Kayvon Thibodeau, edge out of Oregon to Seattle. Number 10, Kyle Hamilton, safety out of Notre Dame. To me, he's the safety version of Micah Parsons, where Micah Parsons was a linebacker slash edge. Kyle Hamilton, to me, is a safety first, but I think he's also going to be a very, very good linebacker if that's what you need. Reminds me of Fred Warner over there in San Francisco. You got, what's his face? Robert Saleh, the head coach there. I think giving him arguably one of the best defensive players in the whole draft to build around is going to be great. They have a lot of edge and D-line talent already. Obviously, that's never going to be done in working on the defensive line. I would love to throw in an edge here, but the top ones are already gone. But I think Kyle Hamilton, either as a safety or a linebacker, makes a lot of sense for the Jets defense. And he's a steal at 10, in my opinion. So Kyle Hamilton, safety out of Notre Dame. Number 11, Chris Olave, wide receiver out of Ohio State. He's my wide receiver 2 right now. I think both the Ohio State guys are the best 2 right now in the draft process. And Washington is kind of in search for adding more to their talents at wide receiver for Carson Wentz. Being a Colts fan, obviously Carson Wentz just needs all the help he can get. Chris Olave, he's going to provide a lot of utilization in that offense. He doesn't have to be wide receiver number 1 right away. You got Terry McLaurin there as long as he wants to be with the Commanders. So I think Chris Olave makes a lot of sense for the offense. I could see them going somewhere on the defensive side of the football, but Chris Olave makes a lot of sense as well. So putting him there. Number 12, Derek Stingley. This is one of those matches that I don't think Derek Stingley is number 2 cornerback for me, but the Vikings, I have the defensive coordinator from LSU's championship run that coached Derek Stingley. Got Patrick Peterson, who was also the star corner at LSU. You got a need there as well. They just don't have great corners. And he's got a lot of tools, even if he hasn't produced in the last 2 years with his injuries and everything like that. Makes this pick make a lot of sense. Obviously, there's a lot that you could do here, but for me, this kind of just made the most amount of sense, and I really like it. So Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback out of LSU. Number 13, Devontae Wyatt, defensive tackle out of Georgia. Both defensive tackles from Georgia should be top 10 picks for the draft. Him and, I'm spacing on the name. Shoot. Jordan Davis. Yeah, sorry, Jordan Davis. You could put them anywhere in these picks, whoever takes the defensive tackle. It could be a 1A, 1B situation. I just like Devontae Wyatt a little bit more. I feel like he can play more snaps for you, and he's also just a pocket pusher. He's going to disrupt from day one, and he's a freak. He got overshadowed size-wise by Jordan Davis. That dude's just a monster, but the Texans get something to kind of stop the run with Jonathan Taylor on the Colts, Derrick Henry on the Titans, and whatever the hell the Jaguars are doing. So I think this is just a good pick here. You get 2 pretty impactful defensive players to help kind of reshape that defense with Lovie Smith there as your head coach. So number 14, Baltimore Ravens get Ike Ekwonu, tackle out of NC State. I think he makes a lot of sense for their line. I normally would prefer to see Ekwonu in the top 8. I think this is a very lucky pick for the Ravens, but this is kind of just how the board fell when I was going through it. Gage hates it because he's a Browns fan. But Ike is a freak of nature. He's got a mean streak, and he will run you over and not put a lot of effort into it. So this would be a really scary pick for the Ravens, and everyone in the AFC North hates it as well. But yeah, Ike Ekwonu, tackle, NC State, number 14 overall. All right, first pick for the Eagles. I went Trent McDuffie, cornerback out of Washington. This would be my cornerback number 2. I think the fit is just perfect for the Eagles. They have a cornerback as their a cornerback coach as their defensive coordinator, and they have somewhat of a need there. Darius Slay holds down cornerback 1 right now. Trent McDuffie will be the other wide corner, but he can also dominate in the slot if he was put in that position. And I just think his athletic ability, his tackling, and everything like that is off the charts. So Trent McDuffie, cornerback out of Washington, for the first pick of the Eagles. Number 16, I got Malik Willis, quarterback out of Liberty. This is something where I think the Saints need a franchise guy. Obviously, they got Jameis Winston there right now, but they haven't signed him for more than 1 year for a reason on each of his contracts. He's someone that is good, but Malik Willis is someone that you can kind of hang your hat on as, okay, this guy can be the real deal in 2 to 3 years, and they have the luxury of waiting for him. So I think Malik Willis offers a lot of versatility. He can learn to be more of a pocket passer, but from the beginning, if he was to see the field this year, he would be in a very dumbed down offense, and I think the Saints can handle that. So I think Malik Willis works a lot here. I think if the Saints really wanted him, they're going to have to trade up to get him in the draft, but the way that the board fell, this is kind of where I see Malik Willis going. Number 17, though, for the Los Angeles Chargers, you got Charles Cross, the best available tackle, gives Justin Herbert that much more power on the offensive line. One, for pass blocking, he'll be incredible, but he also has the size and the want to be a blocking right tackle if you want to start running the ball a bit easier. The Chargers just have been building that line over the last couple of years. This is a very good piece to put in there. This was between Jordan Davis and Charles Cross, and I just leaned towards protecting Herbert. So Charles Cross, tackle out of Mississippi State. Number 18 or 19, whatever this pick ended up actually being, I have Jordan Davis, defensive tackle out of Georgia, to the Philadelphia Eagles. This is one pick where I don't think I've seen this put in most mock drafts. Usually they go edge or linebacker or even a wide receiver. But Jordan Davis, just like Devontae Wyatt, is extremely disruptive. Eagles just love anyone that they can put on the defensive line. This is the best available defensive lineman right now. He can do it all from the middle of the defensive line. He's not going to play as many snaps as Devontae Wyatt, in my opinion, but he's going to provide a lot of firepower there for the Eagles. So I think this is a slam dunk for him as well. Okay, number 18. When I edited this slide, I messed this all up. So I think this might be the actual 19th overall pick or something like that. But New Orleans Saints go down to Alabama and draft Jameson Williams, wide receiver. This is another huge weapon that you can get in the first round, wide receiver wise. Jameson Williams would have been number 1 if he didn't have that injury, I think torn ACL. Not the same kind of injury as it used to be, but still, it is an injury. It's not the best thing to draft a injured wide receiver, but I'm confident that he'll come back and still be extremely productive, still be extremely fast, and he's going to pair up with Michael Thomas and Marquez Callaway and whoever else that they get in New Orleans this year. He'll be a great target for Jameis Winston, but ideally you got Malik Willis dropping bombs to him in 2 to 3 years, and they're making the NFL look crazy. So I like Jameson Williams, wide receiver, to New Orleans. All right, next one. This is now the pick 20. The picks are caught up and correct now. I got Desmond Ridder, quarterback out of Cincinnati. I think he has a lot of traits that the Steelers are going to like. He's big. He's got the long speed to break out big runs. He's got good enough arm to make any throw on the field, and he's relatively smart coming out of Cincinnati. Like he's good at picking up reads and whatnot. He's got some mechanical things that he's got to work through, and I have confidence that the Steelers can do a lot of work with him. I'm sure he's already working on his footwork and his throwing motion. It's got to get quicker. He had like 26 knockdowns from the defensive line just because they could time his passing really easily. But I think he can evolve into their franchise quarterback, and Mitchell Trubisky will give him enough time where he's not thrown in the fire right away. But I think he's still worth the first round pick, and he could end up being the best quarterback any of these guys can be. But right now, I think Desmond Ridder fits there. So, yeah. Number 21 for the Patriots. Mikey, I get you George Karlaftis, edge out of Purdue. I honestly was going to go Devin Lloyd. I think Devin Lloyd would be great there, but you guys have some really big linebackers already that they're fast and whatnot, and you can find those later on. You guys coach those very well. But getting someone like George Karlaftis to pair on the outside with Judon on the other side would be very good for you guys. He is just relentless, though. He does his job, which is Patriots motto forever: just do your job. He's that kind of guy. He's relatively young, too. I think he's only 21 years old, and I think he would make a lot of sense for the Patriots. Other than that, I would say Kyer Elam would be a very, very interesting pick for the Patriots as well. But I went George Karloff just because he was the best edge. So there you go. Number not 28, number 22 overall pick. I got Treylon Burks, wide receiver out of Arkansas. Gage is throwing a fit because this is kind of his draft crush. But yeah, Treylon Burks, not much to say about him. He's a very good wide receiver. He's got a lot of room to grow, but I have a lot of confidence Aaron Rodgers is going to get the best out of him right away, and he'll take his time to get into being a great wide receiver, but he'll look very good, especially in that Packers system. So, number 2 overall pick. That was a little too quick, but anyways, number 3 overall pick, Arizona Cardinals. You're good, Mike. You got Andrew Booth Jr., cornerback out of Clemson. I think this is a great fit. They can make tackles, or Andrew Booth can make any tackle on the field. He's very good at what he does. And he's a very smart cornerback as well. They got a need there, so I kind of just threw him in there. So, yeah, 23 overall pick, Andrew Booth Jr., cornerback, Clemson. All right. Number 24, Dallas Cowboys select Trevor Penning, tackle out of UNI, Northern Iowa, I believe it is. This is just a great pick. They lost Lael Collins to the Cincinnati Bengals. Trevor Penning is a great tackle. He produced very well, even though it was a lower competition. But he's got a lot of size. He's got a lot of technical ability. But the biggest thing is he's got a really mean streak, and he's got a lot of competitiveness in him. And I think he'll fit right at home in that Dallas Cowboys offensive line. Number 25, Daxton Hill, cornerback / safety out of Michigan. I just listed him as a DB. He can do it all at a great level in any of the DB positions. I think he even played a little linebacker, but I'm not even sure on that one. But he was one of the leaders on the Michigan defense. They made a big turn this year. Big factors in that were obviously Aiden Hutchinson, but Daxton Hill was also there locking down corner or wide receivers and locking down a lot of passing lanes for the opposing defense or opposing offenses. But I think he makes a lot of sense for the Buffalo Bills because he could play cornerback right now if he wanted. And if any of those safeties kind of fall off, you don't have a big drop off in safety talent. So he's just a great piece to have on a very good team already. And as Super Bowl contenders, you get the luxury of just taking defensive players and not necessarily taking what you need on defense. So I really like Daxton Hill to Buffalo. Number 26 overall, I got Bernhard Raimann, tackle out of Central Michigan. They need more offensive line help. This is the best one I could find at the moment for them. He could start out as a guard and then eventually become their tackle, or he could be slotted in as a tackle right away. But the beauty of Bernhard Raimann is he is new to the position and he's shown a lot of progress already. He's good enough right now to play, but he should continue to get better, especially with Taylor Lewan on his team showing him the ropes. Gives a great young athletic tackle. Hopefully he starts off as a guard and ends up being the left tackle once Taylor Lewan moves on. But wherever you put him on the offensive line, he'll be a mean force for you. So helps their run game a lot and gives Derrick Henry a chance to continue being the king. So yeah. Number 27, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, kind of the same thought process, but with them missing their guard, Kenyon Green slots in as a very, very good offensive guard. He's got a high ceiling, but he's also got a high floor. I think he's a home run pick, but as a guard, you don't usually go in the top 15 unless you're kind of the generational type. But Kenyon Green, he's going to be great in the run game right away, but he's also very good at just stopping people right in their tracks. So I think that fits very well for Tampa Bay. Number 28 overall pick, Tyler Linderbaum to the Green Bay Packers. They lost Corey Linsley. I'm not sure if they necessarily need a center, but when you can take a franchise center who's going to be a generational type prospect at his position at 28 overall, I say you do it. So Tyler Linderbaum's just fantastic. He's a little bit undersized, but he stands his own. He's very smart, and you can do a lot with him on your line. All right, now moving on to the number 29 overall pick, we got Jermaine Johnson, edge out of Florida State. Honestly, this is another one of those guys that can go a lot sooner. And in fact, I was surprised that he was still even here for me at number 29 overall, but that was my own doing, so blame me. Jermaine Johnson is a great edge. He has produced, but with his lackluster Florida State team, didn't get a whole lot of recognition, and he balled out in the Senior Bowl. The Chiefs, I'll kind of spoil this next pick, are going defensive line for both their picks, which is going to surprise people. I think everyone wants them to go wide receiver, but when you got Jermaine Johnson on the board, I say take him and get after the other quarterbacks in the league. So number 30 is also the Chiefs if you want to click over. I got Travis Jones, defensive tackle out of UConn. It's kind of a pick that I think most Chief fans are going to groan about because I don't know if they've heard him being in the first round. But Travis Jones is a very good defensive tackle, and there's going to be wide receivers in the second round. They got 2 second-round picks. They got 2 third-round picks, and I think they got 2 fourth-round picks as well. You're going to get a wide receiver, so hold your horses. But I think Travis Jones and Jermaine Johnson being added into that defensive line group, that's scary if you're anyone playing against the Chiefs, and I think this helps them out quite a lot. But yeah, going number 31 to the Cincinnati Bengals. It's another person that I'm like surprised is even here, but again, my doing. You got Devin Lloyd, University of Utah linebacker. I view him as a very muscular version of Darius Leonard. Just a lot more mass on him than Darius Leonard. He's kind of a skinny dude. They're rangy. They can do everything on the field that you want a linebacker to do in today's game, and very productive. Just all around, everything I think is extremely good with Devin Lloyd. I could see him going as high as number 12 to the Vikings, but he's here at number 31 for the Bengals. Yes, they need offensive line, and yes, they need cornerback, but you take the best player available at this position if it's Devin Lloyd. So, yeah, to my last pick of the first round, you got George Pickens, wide receiver out of Georgia. This is a wide receiver that I would love to see in the first round. I think his speed and everything like that is top notch. He's coming off an injury, but he has shown that he hasn't really lost a step at all. He's got great hands. He's got a lot of route understanding, and he just knows how to play his position already. Being a freshman on Georgia and already playing great, even as a sophomore, he played great. It shows a lot to his ability. He's a quick learner, and he's just gifted. So the Detroit Lions add Matt Corral and George Pickens, gets a boost to their offense, and I think that they're going to be exciting to watch together. But yeah, that wraps up my first round. It was, I think, started off a little more interesting than normal, but what do you guys think?
Well, I think, Mikey, we will probably need to invest in that that shirt for the forfeit if Matt Corral is going second overall. No, I liked some of it. I thought Matt Corral.
I knew you wouldn't like it, but I wasn't gonna shy away from it.
I mean, it's not even just him going in the first round would cause like problems for me. Like, I don't know about that. Second overall, like, come on, don't do that to Detroit. They deserve some happiness. Like, we can't just keep crapping on their franchise over and over again. Okay, their fan base deserves more.
Well, I could get more into that if you really want to, but
no, we've gone over our Matt Corral debate
Yeah.
multiple times. We don't need people to hear it.
yeah.
I liked Mikey, go down. Down. I do like how you had multiple wide receivers in the top 10.
Yeah.
Because I think that might end up actually happening, especially with how expensive wide receivers are getting. They're becoming a premium. Keep going down. There was one that hated that one. Yeah. Oh, and then why isn't Kenny Pickett in the first round? Like, why can't he go to the Steelers? Like, come on.
Well,
He was there.
I just don't believe in Kenny Pickett. I think he's.
Oh no, I don't either. But
Derek
that's why you should go to
Carson
the Steelers.
Yeah. Mikey, what did you think about your boys taking Carl Laftis?
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a need, so.
Well, and he's very good at his position, so.
Yeah. He's just
It's
not
not a sexy pick.
No, yeah, he's not the athletic freak like a couple other people in the class, but obviously they're gone. So
Yeah. Well, honestly, looking back, I could put Jermaine Johnson there, but
I'd rather
I think
George
Karlaftis. Yeah, I think Karlaftis, because you have Judon. Like Judon is very productive already, but you get someone that is going to do the dirty work on the other side as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at the pick. Obviously, I would prefer like someone awesome, like a wide receiver, but
Yeah,
that's not going to
but
happen.
you guys got a lot of talent already on your offense.
If that's what you want to call it. I'm just kidding. No, yeah.
But
no,
I go through this mock draft a lot, and I kind of like, man, like I don't know how like Jermaine Johnson and Evan Lloyd went so low, but
Yeah, that was the only other bone I had to pick was Jermaine Johnson. I don't see how he drops out of the top 15.
I don't know either. But I don't think everyone is just gonna take edges just to take edges. So I don't know. I just kind of what went through when I went through the draft.
Yeah. And then I liked the George Pickens a lot. I think that it's highly slept on.
Yeah.
Just because of what he had this year. But if he left and he never came back into this year and didn't play, he'd be a first round pick. So, but I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. Different, but not outlandish. Apart from Matt Corral.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing I'll say more about Matt Corral, and we can end this. One of the things that I always look out for in the draft process is kind of the anecdotal, and the anecdotal can give you some insight on quarterbacks. And I've heard really good things about Malik Willis and Matt Corral, specifically. Other quarterbacks, I've heard that they're good and kind of the typical stuff. But with Malik Willis, everyone raves about who he is as a person. I think that's really good for him. With Matt Corral, what I've seen is that there's a lot of talk about his coachability, his understanding of his playbook, and just the the work that he does with quarterback coaches and everything like that. They say that he's very coachable. And for the Lions, if you're picking number 2 overall, you do not want to be there again. You don't want to count on being there in the top 10, and you don't have a franchise quarterback. So I just went with who I thought was my quarterback, but I could very well see them taking Malik Willis, and I wouldn't be surprised.
No, it's fair enough.
But I can be wrong, and that's going to be okay.
It's your mock draft. You never know.
Yeah.
Those crazy things happen. But if you guys have made it to the end of the video, we appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and follow us for more NFL content. We'll be releasing it quite often, and we have also got the live watch along mock draft with us coming out Thursday for the first round. So we'll see you guys then.
At 7:30 Eastern.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
7:30 Eastern. Yeah.
All right. See you guys.
Peace out.